The Joe Rogan Experience.
So you were doing a bunch of different things, right? So you become an elite wrestler,
Mm-hmm.
and then for a while you were thinking about playing football. So you played football for a short amount of time.
Buffalo Bills, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you play it for?
I never played football in my life.
You
That was
never
the-
played.
No, that was the first. Hey, that was the first time I played football. I promise.
That's crazy. First time you played football was professional.
It was in NFL. My mom was always
Wow.
scared. The high school coaches at Apple Valley High School in Minnesota were like, "Hey, come play football." They were trying to call my mom and dad, and I'm like, "You're not going to convince her. She is scared to death of football." But the whole time I'm wrestling. So where do we bridge this gap at?
Right, right.
And I just get done with WWE, and I go out there and I'm chilling. I get a call saying, "Hey, you want to try out for the Bills?" And I tell Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, I said, "Hey, don't expect much, but I could put on shoes, but I've never had football cleats on. I never had pads on. I don't even know how to put the tights on, anything." And I went out there and I sprinted my ass off, though, in that tryout. I was sprinting down and back and forth. I said, "Hey, if I don't know any technique for D-line, you're going to see effort." And McDermott saw effort, and that's all he needed to see, and he gave me a chance.
What was that like? Like jumping into a completely new sport.
Hard, because it's not just football.
And how old were you when you did that?
20. I just turned 24.
Wow.
I just turned 24. Ooh. I know you see it. You see that stance? That's the beginner stance. That's the beginner stance. But I came out there no gloves, just winging it. And I told them, just give me a good chance. But football is not just football. It's the playbook. And the playbook is crazy because I went from, hey, go out there and wrestle someone one-on-one to see if the guard is light on his feet or see if he's leaning forward, to see if the center is going to silent count maybe, or see if the guard taps the center to snap the ball. There's a lot of different things that you got to know. And I'm out there with this big-ass helmet on. I've never put a helmet on, Joe, so I'm out there with this big-ass helmet. My head's, like, down, and I can't look up. And I don't know what I'm doing. But I knew if I gave effort that someone would give me a chance. And I went out there in my first game. I think I had a tackle, a QB rush, and that was kind of unheard of at the time because I've never played ball before. But it was crazy. Once-in-a-lifetime experience, most definitely.
And when you got cut, did you think about trying somewhere else? Did you think about doing it more?
Yeah, once I got cut from Buffalo, I was the last one to get cut from the room. I remember going in to see Bean and McDermott, and they were gonna do practice squad, but I knew they were gonna do practice squad, so I was like, "Yo, just send me home. I'll figure it out. I'll try again." So my plan was to go back to college and wrestle already, but I sat around for maybe a month. Baltimore Ravens called me, and Baltimore was like, "Hey, do you want to come to a tryout?" I said, "Okay." I never played football before. Just to let you know, like if it's a little shaky. I went out there and I dominated the tryout, and I had like 10 minutes of work, but it was a great 10 minutes. And they're like, "Okay, we're going to take your physicals. You're going to be here and stay." The injury report comes back, and the injury report says they need they need a DN and a linebacker. So you got to compensate for the spot because you need someone to play next week. And I probably needed like 6 weeks on practice squad to play. And so I get sent home. They say, "Give me a week. We'll bring you back." A week comes, they don't bring me back. And so I'm like, okay, I see the writing on the wall. Let me move on. I sit for a little bit. Indianapolis Colts call. They just got ran over by a team. They said, "We need a run stopper." So I go out there, do the tryout. I think it went well. They said, "We're not taking anybody today." And then from there, I was like, maybe this is not it. And so I went back to wrestle.
And did you ever think about MMA at that time? Was it in the back of your head?
MMA was in the back of my head since the Olympics. But I wanted to make sure that if I was going to go to MMA, that let me try things first before going all in on something that I need to go all in on. And I did my tryouts, I did my things, and now I want to go in all in on something that is finally here.
And when your mom was scared of you doing wrestling, how did she feel about you doing MMA?
Oh, she's shitting all over. Oh, my God. She can't even watch. She didn't even watch me wrestle. And so now I'm like, "Mom, I got a dude about to punch me in the face. Maybe if he can get to me. Are you sure you want to come and watch?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll come watch." And she comes, has a good time and has her drinks. And when I step out, I'm like, "Where were you?" "Oh, I was in the back." "So you didn't even see me fight?" So I'm like, why you even come then? So she, out of the 3 fights I've had, she's sat in the back and she'll be like, John will go and get her and be like, "Gable's done." And she'll be like, "Oh, what happened?" And John will be like, "Good, it's all day."
So did she get nervous? Is that what it is?
Oh my God, she's sweating, she's nervous. But I'm just like, I'll give her that look of like, if this is one of them ones, I'm gonna tell you. But I haven't gave her those looks yet, so she'll know.
So when you make this, so you decide football's not going to happen, WWE's not going to happen. You did like one televised match with WWE,
I did, yes.
right? Yeah. What was that like?
Honestly, I had a great, from me being real and honest, I had a great experience. I have nothing wrong with anybody there. TKO was great, Triple H, Paul Levesque was great, Stephanie, Vince, everybody was great. I just had a competitive drive that I needed to get out. And so, when you have that gap is there, you can't do both.
Right.
And I was trying to bridge both, and I wasn't giving my 100% to the business. And if I'm not going to give 100% to the business, then you might as well X me out because it's already over with. So that's practically how it happened.
Yeah, no slight on pro wrestling, but it's just like if you really want to compete.
You got to get it all out.
Yeah.
And so I would love to go back in the future. I would love to do a sport and go out there and dominate. And then, hey.
Maybe after the UFC heavyweight champ.
For sure. Maybe after a couple times. And so I would love to go. And if it meant well, and I would do it again, most definitely, because I have no hard feelings to them. And that's how it goes.
So when you make the decision that you're going to go into MMA, what is that like? Like, what are the steps that you take?
I got done with NCAAs, and I said I flew down to Miami. I met with Jon and a couple other people, and I said, hey, I want to fight. Jon had me in his camp.
So we're talking about Jon Jones. And did you know Jon before this?
I knew Jon because I knew Jon from Instagram. Jon liked wrestling, so I knew Jon from IG. He sent me a DM. He sent me his number. And if you know Jon, he don't answer the phone worth anything, and it's crazy. But he sent me his number. He said, call me. So I called him, and this was before he got hurt for the first Stipe fight. He was like, I want you to come practice with us. I want a wrestling partner. I left him and played football. The next year comes. No, I'm sorry. I don't even know where I was at the time. But Skip, we go, and he's like, I want you to come back for the second camp. He's going through it. Me and Jon hit it off like that.
Wow.
We hit it off immediately.
And so when you guys started training together in camp, is that when it really sunk in your head? When you're like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. He really, I needed somebody to kind of engrave it in me. With wrestling, I had my father. I had the University of Minnesota. I had a lot of good people around me kind of like say, hey, this is how we're going to do it. This is where you need to go, and this is how it's going to happen. And when I saw Jon, I saw that drive of like, damn, this guy's winning, and people get close, but they can't get past him. And why is that? So I really sat back and like watched his mental and like how he went about a lot of things, how he talked to people, how he greeted people, how he walked, how he punched, maybe how he looked when he was in the pocket, when he needed to get out, when he rested his hands. And I saw everything, and I was like, wow, like, man, this guy's a superstar, superstar. And we all know that. And people know that for a long time now. But I really saw him, and I was like, damn, I want to be that. And that's what flipped my switch right there.
What an amazing opportunity. You haven't done any MMA, and you get to go in there and train with the GOAT.
It's crazy. This one, man, it's hard to explain. I tell people ask me all the time, like, what was it like seeing Jon for the first time? Because I'm 25, so when Jon was like super peak, I was like 12, 13 years old, and I'm looking at this guy beat Gustafsson, Reyes, and Thiago Santos and stuff like that. So it's different. You see a different side of people, and when I saw Jon, I was like, wow, like I've seen you for my whole life, and I get to see you in person. Like, how cool is that?
Holiday football has arrived. The regular season's wrapping up, the playoffs are on deck, and every win matters more. With DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, the unexpected can turn game day into payday. Don't forget, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If your player goes down in the first half, you still get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're protected through the entire first half. Why bet anywhere else? New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code ROGAN. That's code ROGAN. Bet $5 and win $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. BootHillCasino.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
And for people that don't even know, the close fights that Jon had, they were really only close because Jon wasn't training. That's
Probably.
really all it is.
That's true.
100%. Jon
true.
was partying, and he was what I would call playing with his food. You know, like
Yeah.
he didn't like the Gustafson fight is a perfect example. Didn't train at all for the Gustafson fight. I mean, I talked to Greg Jackson, and he was like, I swear to God, he barely showed up. I'm like, that is so crazy. And then he gutted it out in the last rounds. That's what's crazy. It's a close decision, but he wins the fight by gutting it out in the final rounds when he's done relatively no strength and conditioning.
Nothing.
So crazy.
It's fantastic to see.
Then really gets motivated for the second fight was Gustafson
And blows
just
him out.
Smokes him.
Blows him out.
Which is what you expect. When Jon is in prime form, he's the greatest of all time. And
Most definitely.
For you to be able to be a young guy who's thinking about MMA and train with the greatest of all time, two division world champion, it's crazy. Amazing opportunity.
And it's amazing because you don't see the guy that's you see the best of the best right away.
Whoop, we're back. So anyway, where were we?
Jon Jones.
Yeah. So you're saying you're talking about like what it's like to first start training with them.
Mm-hmm.
So you had no MMA training really before that at all. You had just been doing a little
Nothing.
bit of striking with this guy.
Joe, I kid you not, I didn't even know really how to defend punches.
That's crazy.
I didn't know how to defend punches, and you probably saw a video of him throwing the knee at me because I'm so hard-headed. I'm like, let me shoot on Jon, but the whole time I forgot he's a national championship wrestler.
Right.
So I didn't even know how to defend a punch. I didn't know how to defend a kick. I didn't know how to do anything. But I went in there and I said, hey, if you need somebody, it's got to be me. And that's how hungry I was, and I feel like that's how kids should be nowadays about getting that opportunity. Man, just be hungry because someone's going to respect you.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, not a whole lot of people get that opportunity. That's
True.
a crazy opportunity. It's also like Jon is an elite wrestler as well. And so like learning how to incorporate elite wrestling into all the other aspects of MMA and to be able to go right into camp with Jon is just, this is amazing. Incredible opportunity.
It's super incredible. I'm grateful for it every day. And especially he's still here in my corner to this day. We talked this morning. He's still giving me all the pointers, all the advice, even when we're not even fighting. Just telling me how I should say things, what I should say, how I need to go about life, how I need to go about business and meeting people and greeting people. So it's a true opportunity.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So when you were in camp with him, you're going through the camp. Were you planning on MMA then, or like how does it work? Like what were you think? Were you just like the moment you started training with him? Is that when it really started the fire in you?
Yes, I had a little bit of burn for it, but
Like in the back of your mind.
yes, but a little burn. You got to have the heart. You got to have the heart. So what was the stamp on it was I went to Madison Square Garden with him, and Jon was just doing Jon things, just being a superstar. Everybody knew who he was, and I was like, man, I got an Olympic gold medal. Like maybe I should be getting some too. Like like Jon showed me the way a little bit. So I'm trying to have him show me the way. And he's bringing me to every place, meeting every person, showing me the opportunities that he has. And he looks at me and he was like, you can have this too. And that was kind of the cherry on the top. But we can put another cherry on the top and do a double one when he won the fight. And then I'm holding the belt with him. And I see this guy face to face. And, he's just the most popular man on earth for that day. And it's kind of like, wow, like you don't really get to see the backstage moments. You get to see the guy go out there on TV and fight. But I got to see the backstage of everyone taking the pictures with him, the superstars. I'm walking out the Knicks game and I see Queen Latifah and I'm like, damn, that's Queen Latifah. And I'm taking a selfie with Queen Latifah. I'm like, yo, can I send this to my mom? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. And I see Fat Joe talking to him and everybody. And I'm like, wow, like this is what it is to be like a real fighting star. Like, and fighting is one-on-one. And people want to watch someone fight. But I think in other sports, like we talked about earlier, there's a full team with helmets on, with jerseys on. But in fighting, people want to meet that badass dude, and they want to meet the champ. And that's what I want to be.
Yeah. So what is training with Jon like? Like, what is the training camp like? Like when, you obviously haven't gone into training camp with any other elite fighters, but one of the more interesting that separates Jon from everybody else is like Jon doesn't take no short notice fights. Jon game plans for everybody. He studies tendencies. His fight IQ. I mean, it's obviously he has everything. He obviously has all the skills. Obviously has all the drive and everything else. But the fight IQ is the big one. That's the big one, because if you don't have a good driver, who gives a fuck how fast your car is?
True.
It's really the mind behind it that puts it all together.
He's sitting in a Ferrari with Ferrari gas. A lot of people sit in a Ferrari with 87 gas and the car don't work. So when I got to see those tendencies of him watching people, and he does it to me now where he'll send me videos on Instagram of the top UFC guys, be like, oh, watch how he steps. Watch when he throws a punch, how he comes back and he doesn't reset this certain way. And he's kind of already installing those tendencies in me. And so now, when I was wrestling, I never used to watch people wrestle. Like I went out there on a limb and I was just beating guys. Even in Olympics, I never watched anyone wrestle. I never watched their film.
Really?
Never. I told coaches, don't show me one video because I don't want to focus on that one thing he did. And that was me being hard-headed. Like if a guy had a great double leg, and I'm like, damn, how do I stop this double leg? And I'm worried about stopping the double leg instead of doing my offense. And so I never watched anybody. I went to the Olympics and I said, show me the guys I'm wrestling, and I said, let's do it.
You know how many guys
I
right
said,
now
let's
are
do
just
it. Come on.
banging their head against the wall, listening to this, going,
It's
what
like,
the
damn,
fuck?
he did that to me?
That's crazy.
I said, let's do it. I said, it's me or you as do or die. And this tournament, I'm not dying. Like, you can't beat me in any way possible. And that's when I was at my best, when I had that mindset. And he's kind of putting that back into me, and I feel really good about it.